Today, let's get to listen to stories of triumph amidst failures, courage despite fear, strength through weakness, and even the occasional hopeful cheer from personal punny experiences. I am your host, RKaye, and this is the BetterU Podcast. What is up, fam? Welcome to today's episode of the BetterU Podcast. This is RKaye, and today we are still discussing and talking about how to jumpstart our fitness journey. And for the past couple of weeks, we have gone through the why and the plan, pretty much. So those are our first initial steps. And to me, those two steps have made a lot of my own training as an athlete as well become successful through the years. And by the way, just mentioning that some of the viewpoints that I will be sharing with you guys may not necessarily be something that would directly apply to you guys, but these are simply suggestions, and basically these are a lot of my own experiences, a lot of the different things that have helped me become successful and really be able to consistently train and consistently push myself. And that is really what it is all about. Consistency is something that is really a little bit complex to try and let everyone, experience. It's something that many easily are able to do. Other people will not necessarily have the same type or level of commitment as we can probably also mention. Consistency and staying committed to a fitness journey, not everyone will be able to really, gauge their journey to maintain 100%. And that in itself, I think, is also a good cue for us for today's episode. Many people think that when we talk about consistency, or many of us coaches and trainers, when we say or suggest that, you have to be consistent, a lot of people get scared of it because they think that being consistent has to be doing training or being in training and being active literally every single day. And to me, in my own experience, being consistent really only matters within your own lifestyle. If you can only train once or twice a week, that is your consistency, or that in itself is your commitment to it. To me, when you want to jumpstart your journey, it's not just going to help you to know the why or the reason behind why you want to become healthier and fitter. It's not only important to have that game plan or list up how you will go about to sustain your journey. It is also important for you to be realistic about your own consistency or your own commitment to the training that you want to do. And that, I believe, is one of the things also that makes many training programs that people get into. It's the level of commitment to particular programs. Sometimes it's not realistic for every type of lifestyle. Oh goodness, I just have to we just have to go through a quick blooper, guys. But yeah, so as I mentioned, a lot of different training programs out there. Many people get scared of it. Many people just decide that, you know what, I'll forget about it because I cannot commit to that type of consistency. I can't really do it every single day. And so that to me, in essence, is also another strategy that will really help you sustain your own fitness journey. You have to be able to be realistic with the level of commitment and consistency that you can do. And so to me, just being able to really accept and, telling yourself that, okay, I can only really do 1 day a week with training. You should be fine with that. And you shouldn't really have other people say to you otherwise, because that's the only way you can really put your foot forward, be able to take that first step forward. And that is one of the things that really makes people get scared, be afraid of the change that they want, because even before they can start their journey, they're already thinking to themselves, oh, if I can't really do this every single day, then it won't work. That won't necessarily be, because it really all depends on you and your lifestyle. You can imagine if you're someone, let's say myself, if I'm starting from scratch, literally, it just basically means that from zero, I cannot push myself from 0 to 100% in just the snap of a finger. And it's the same for your consistency. It won't necessarily be from no activity at all that you will be able to do things every single day. Of course, that is, in the perfect world, that's what a lot of trainers, a lot of coaches want from you guys. But to me, as a trainer, if I have a client who will also want to start off their journey and they're starting from scratch, literally zero, maybe they have been in the gym or have had physical activity a couple of years back, it will take some time to really go through and become consistent and really have that particular level of commitment. Also, aside from the commitment in itself, the regularity or the frequency of training, it takes a toll on your body. And a lot of people who go from 0 to 100, what they want is to create that change at a quicker pace. I get it. A lot of us these days, that's what we want. We want something instantaneously. We want something to be reached and to see the difference at a quicker pace. I get it. I also have had experiences like that. But you have to also understand that the body does need to also rely on rest, on recuperation. After a hard day of training, you get exhausted, your body gets sore. It takes a while for your body to really adjust to how a consistent training program is. And that's also another key factor when it comes to commitment. Some people go from 0 to 100 at such a quick pace that in the middle of their journey, or in the middle of that race that we call life, in the middle of your journey to become a better individual physically through exercise and through consistent training, sometimes you tell yourself, okay, I'm really tired, but my coach says that I have to train every single day. And so sometimes there is a certain level of pressure that comes crashing all in, and you just tell yourself, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore because it's just so exhausting. It's just so excruciating. And as a coach, I do understand how that feels. I have been in that state where I would actually train I would be under training 6 days a week. We have 7 days in a week. You train 6 days in a week, and you tell yourself, why am I even doing this, right? Of course, again, you go back to the reason behind it, but sometimes we have to be realistic about things. If you really, really desire, and your reason behind your commitment is really, really high, you try to unburden yourself of how you feel physically and just always think about your reason. That could work, of course, but eventually our bodies will feel, your body will take a toll at a certain point. You can only push your body to 100% at a certain level, and it won't necessarily be the same. Quick example is, if you train today, let's say today, my day is a Thursday. If you train on a Thursday, and the following week you train on a Thursday again, it won't necessarily mean that the amount or the level of the way that you push through training, it won't necessarily mean that it is exactly the same percentage as next week. So let's say today I was able to push through around 90% of my own effort. My effort into training, I was able to push at around 90%. It won't necessarily mean that next week on a Thursday it will be exactly 90% as well. It probably could be 91, 92%. But that's basically what I'm saying, is that the level of commitment that we put into our training and how our body also is feeling won't necessarily be at 100% each and every time. So today, let me just share those thoughts with you guys, because a lot of people do get, for the lack of term, a lot of people just don't want to go through any type of training program anymore when they think about having to commit always at 100%. And let me just reiterate it to you that, again, when you become committed, when you become consistent through your training, you always have to look into your own lifestyle, always look through your journey through your own perspective. You don't necessarily have to compare it with another person. Even if you're working with a coach, always be vocal about how you are currently feeling, because if you do get to work with a good coach, your coach will understand you, and your coach will do their best to really tweak the program that you're going through. If they give you, let's say, a 5-day program, five times a day or 5 times a week program, and they see that you aren't really able to show up for each of those 5 training programs, I'm sure your coach will be able to already have that thought in them to remind them that, oh, okay, this client can't really commit to 5 times or 5 days in a week, so maybe I should tweak it. So for you guys who feel that you can't really put in your foot and begin your own journey, don't be afraid, because again, each journey is different. You do not have to sustain a certain level of consistency that is exactly the same as your buddy at work or your best friend or maybe your brother or your sister or whoever in the family. Don't be afraid, don't be shy to commit to something that you are currently experiencing. Do not be scared to say, I can only commit 1 day, 1 hour a week. That's it. There's no bad thing about that, okay? Because especially if you're starting from scratch, again, I've mentioned this a few times, something is better than nothing, okay? So to me as a coach, if I get to work with a client and the client tells me I can only work with you once a week, excellent. Okay, perfect. I would rather that than you tell me, yeah, well, forget it. I can't really do anything at all. So that is something that you guys should also think about as well in your own journey. If you guys are staying consistent and really becoming and maintaining your physical activity, kudos to you, all claps, lots of claps for you guys and gals. But if you're still on the fence of starting out your own fitness journey and changing to become healthier and stronger and better than you were yesterday, I hope that if you get to watch and listen to this episode, that the stress and the pressure has become alleviated from you guys, all right? I hope that today's episode serves as a good story for you guys to look into and ask yourself, if I want to be consistent, how many days or how many times in a week or maybe a couple weeks or maybe in a month I can do realistically. And again, something is better than nothing, guys, all right? So I hope that today's episode was able to help y'all out, all right? Coach RKaye here. I shall see you guys again next week. And just before I go, let me remind you to never give up on your movement journey because it's never too late to move. Bye-bye.